Earlier this week, while filming my Tales of the Valiant video about my first impressions of Tales of the Valiant after running a game for one session, the one and only Mark Rattle contacted me with a message telling me they just released a new adventure in the form of the Sunken Pyramid for Tales of the Valiant for Tier 2 characters to the public. Let's take a look. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is Mr. Tarask and this is the Sunken Pyramid. Also, I'm wearing my ugly oversized yellow sweater because it's super fucking rainy outside and I'm feeling kind of depressed for it, so it's one of those ugly oversized yellow sweaters kind of days. And if you like my oversized yellow ugly sweater, make sure to subscribe to the channel. So let's talk about the Sunken Pyramid, an adventure by Kobold for Tales of the Valiant, their own RPG for 4 to 5 7th level characters. Now the first thing that I was looking for when I opened this adventure and other adventures for Tales of the Valiant is what makes it Tales of the Valiant. And I have to say it not a lot. There isn't like a lot that makes this Tales of the Valiant, which in turn means it is really just also usable for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. If you play 5th edition, you can pick this up, link in the description below, and you can just play it. But there's a few things that make it Tales of the Valiant. So if you played for 5th edition, you're going to need to find some monsters that are not in here and that are in the Tales of the Valiant monster book, or in some in another Kobold Press monster book or whatever, because the ones that aren't in the Tales of the Valiant bestiary, the monsters in this adventure that aren't in the Tales of the Valiant bestiary are in the adventure itself, so you can use that for 5th edition. But there's just a few monsters they refer to that are in the Tales of the Valiant bestiary, which means you need that bestiary or you need to go figure out some stat blocks for yourself, which isn't that hard to do either. Now, outside of that, I'd say the presentation is really Tales of the Valiant, and this is something that not a lot of people have been talking about, but I really like about the Tales of the Valiant adventures. This is like the 4th adventure or something that I look at Tales of the Valiant adventure, and one thing they do is the presentation. And I'm not talking about the font, I'm not talking about like how the cover looks or whatever, about the art. All of that is just Tales of the Valiant, it's all Kobold Press, it's all good, right? They have a way of presenting this. By the way, if you were wondering who Mark Rattle was, it's the designer of this adventure, right? He's just like a person at Kobold Press who's amazing. So there is this presentation kind of thing going on where not only do they have like these great sidebars with game master advice, they kind of shift stuff around. This adventure starts with a synopsis, like an adventure background and an adventure summary, and then they go right into the adventure. There's a few things that I want to talk about here. A ton of other adventures for 5th edition start with like the town that it's played in, and then it slowly progresses into the adventure. Now, here's the adventure summary, part 1, part 2, part 3. Now, if you want to play this adventure in our town that we provided for you, we have that town for you. It is White Moon Cove, right? Go down into the book, White Moon Cove. All of the information about White Moon Cove is right here. The inn, the people, what is happening, how it relates to the adventure, all of that stuff, right? It is in the back. What they also put in the back is a ton of information on Sahagin. I don't really know how to pronounce it. I always say Sahagin. So Sahagin are like the main creature race. I pressed my mouse button. Now my mouse doesn't want to move. Okay. Are the main creature race kind of thing that are responsible for the adventure and responsible like for everything that is going on, right? They are in here. There's like information about their culture right here. Page 44, information about their culture right here. There's the entire culture kind of thing going on, their religion, their teachings, I don't know, and then there's the information about White Moon Cove. So all that information, they put that more in the back, which I absolutely love, because oftentimes I want to play an adventure, but I only want to play the dungeon part of the adventure, but I want to place it in my own town, and I always have to like skip like through a lot of content and just like find the moment where It's just a small thing. I know it's a small thing, but I love that about this, about the presentation of the adventure. Another thing that Kobold Press does very well, and they've been doing for all of their adventures, I'm doing it for my own Tales of the Valiant adventure that I'm designing as Hymn of the Dragonflower that I'm writing with Dot Steverson and JVC Perry. They are these NPC blocks. Now this one is really quite big, but some of these are really small. They're just like a small NPC block that you can find really quickly. And with a lot of 5th edition stuff, you have like this NPC, and then there's this wall of text, and you don't know where it starts, and you don't know where it ends. Now it's really easy to find, like, oh, I want information about Old Griff. It's a he/him kind of person, and he's a human scout. You get like this cursive text that kind of describes him. And then they always do the same thing. They give their background, personality traits, bonds, flaws, their wants, which is really good. So Old Griff wants, although he has spent many years learning everything possible about Huggins in hopes of someday exacting his revenge and blah, 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 blah. So he wants this kind of thing, and you can read about what he wants. What happens if you talk to him, what kind of information players can get from Old Griff. That information is all confined into like an NPC stat block, and I really like it. It's all through like the entire adventure. Every now and then you get like it's not a stat block like a monster stat block. It is like more of a story telling NPC block. I don't know what they exactly call it, but it's actually pretty damn good. So that is kind of what makes a Tales of the Valiant adventure a Tales of the Valiant adventure. Its presentation is different, but other than that, so it isn't like standard 5th edition that we've been used to for the last 10 years. They just kind of like reorganize some stuff and make some stuff easier for your eyes to spot it, instead of getting this wall of text kind of thing where you need to find everything. So it's not really like a Tales of the Valiant adventure in that sense, because you can perfectly play for 5th edition outside of the monsters that are in here. So I want to quickly talk about the plot of this adventure and why I like this adventure and why I'm going to pit this adventure against my players when they reach level 5, 6, or 7. But before I do that, quick message to my players: get the fuck out. So story-wise, the Sunken Pyramid is pretty straightforward, but nonetheless very cool. Now, the Sunken Pyramid itself is a structure that sits underwater. The top of it sits 30 feet underwater, if I'm not mistaken, and it is completely submerged. So every room in the pyramid, everything is submerged. So it is really important that your players and your player characters have ways of getting around in water and breathing underwater. Some might have that at level 7 because of a spell or an ability or whatever. Others might have to drink a potion that gives them a swimming speed and underwater breathing or something like that, right? Other than that, it is a dungeon crawl, but a very cool dungeon crawl because it's an underwater dungeon crawls, and it features these cool creatures, the Sahagins. Now, the thing is, they explain in the text, they explain that nobody really knows if it is a natural structure that just happens to look that way, or it is a human or whatever built structure. Now, from the artwork, it is not a natural structure, right? So it isn't a natural structure. It is built by those, what you call them? Those old race type, I forgot the name of it. Well, it's basically built ages and ages ago, and you can set this anywhere in any campaign setting where you want, as long as it has like a big ass river or a big ass sea. Well, it needs to be a sea probably because there's sharks, right? But anyway, so basically the Sahagins, they made it their home, and after making it their home and they thinking that the god blessed them with this location and all that stuff, they started digging under the pyramid, and they dug and dug and dug as if they were underwater dwarfs. So they dug too deep, of course. Here's another of those character blocks. It's like smaller. It is about like the captain of the ship that takes you to that takes the players to the Sunken Pyramid. Before they have to dive underwater to get to the Sunken Pyramid, they can take a ship. Marquesa, captain of the Mermaid's Mistress. The Mermaid's Mistress is, by the way, a super cool name for our ship. So they need to. So this is basically it. This is what happened. They started digging under the Sunken Pyramid, and they came into like a natural cave system. And in this natural cave system is a big ass devil shark. A really dangerous creature, especially in its natural habitat, which is water. So it is this big ass shark, and the Sahagins, they believe, well, the king believes that this is a god or a demigod or whatever, and the Sahagins, need to keep feeding it. So what they've been doing is they've been capturing merfolk, they've been capturing big ass fish, and they've been capturing surface dwellers from White Moon Cove in order to sacrifice them to this shark. Now, they've captured all of these people together, and they wanna, in 3 days or 4 days, they wanna feed those people to said devil shark. They want to sacrifice those people to the devil shark, basically. And it is up to the player's characters to go inside this dungeon and go all the way through all the levels, all the chambers, all the barracks, all the living quarters, all of that stuff, all the way down here into this natural cavern kind of thing, and find this devil shark and defeat the devil shark, defeat the king, and do all kinds of stuff. There's some plot twists in it. There are some cool story elements in it that I don't really want to spoil for you, but it really feels like a dangerous old school dungeon crawl, but underwater, which is really cool. It really fits into my campaign setting, where I have my own adventure, Isle of the Dreaded Accursed. I have my adventure, Hymn of the Dragonflower, which both kind of are within in the same area in my own world that I created. And there is, of course, Isle of the Dreaded Accursed. It is Mountain Food Village, sits at sea, so it's for me perfectly possible to put this there and just have the Sunken Pyramid be like this legendary location that is now occupied by Sahagins, and there's people disappearing from the town of Mountain Food Village in my case, or I might use White Moon Cove, who knows. Other than that, there's some really dangerous combat with like some really, really wicked sharks, some cool creatures. As you can see, there is this dungeon crawl going on. There are some cool character blocks of like important characters, important NPCs, but that is basically the main synopsis of it. It's really hard for me to like tell you what an adventure is without telling you too much, because even as a game master, I want you to discover like the story elements for yourself. It is Kobold Press, it is Mark Rattle, it is all of those other people that are on there, so it is really, really cool. I wanted to show you that really, oh, this one, look at this thing. And that's it for the Sunken Pyramid. I'm keeping my eye open for more Tales of the Valiant content, more Tales of the Valiant adventures. You can download it for yourself, PDF, link in the description below, for as little as $8 US or something like that, which is like not a lot for a cool adventure like this. So if you want to play it, or if you played it, or if you are about to run it, make sure to tell me in the comments below. I really want to see what you think. I want to see your opinion. I want to know what you want to know about Tales of the Valiant. And until next video, bye-bye.